guys, welcome to the second lesson of a series of 10 basic guitar lessons brought to you by theguitarlesson.com. I'm Tom Fontana, and I'm really excited today since in the first lesson we didn't actually make any real music. We just learned basic guitar picking and fretting. But today we'll learn several major and minor chords, and you'll be able to use these to play tons of songs in the coming lessons. So let's just have a look at the first chord. It'll be the C major. I'm going to ask you to place your first finger onto fret 1 of string B, your second finger onto fret 2 of string D, and your third finger onto fret 3 of string A, and just strum all strings from string A. And now take your hand off the fretboard, shake your fingers off a bit, and try to put your fingers back into the same position. Now shake off and return. We're going to learn several chords today, and I want you to do this with every chord. And it's really important that when you place your fingers back, you make sure that the chord still rings true and your fingers have not moved out of position. Okay, so let's have a look at our next chord, the D major. I'm going to ask you to place your first finger onto fret 2 of string G, your second finger onto fret 2 of the high E string, like this, and your third finger onto fret 3 of string B. And you won't be strumming strings E and A with this chord, just the 4 strings after them. And plug the individual notes to see if they ring clearly, otherwise they'll rattle and won't sound nice. And you can pivot your wrist to find the most comfortable position, so just try that. And once again, just practice this chord, pause the video, take your hand off, shake your fingers off, put it back onto the D major shape, and just do that several times. And keep in mind that all the strings have to sound clear individually, so you just get used to the correct finger placement, okay? Good, so let's move on to the next chord. This will be an A major. And you'll put your first finger onto the second fret of string D, like this, your second finger onto fret 2 of string G, and your third finger onto fret 2 of string B, and strum from A. And the E is not used in this chord, and that's very important. Now this chord is a real squeeze since you have to put 3 fingers onto the same fret on neighboring strings. So those of you with big hands will probably find this one a bit more difficult. But I can recommend an alternate fingering. So instead of your first, second, and third finger, you can use your second, third, and fourth fingers. This will help, but either way, this chord will take some getting used to. Don't worry about it. Just stack your fingers in there, make all the notes sound clear when you practice, and you'll learn it very soon, okay? Okay, good job. So let's move on. We learned only major chords until now, and it's time for our first minor chord. I'll just show you and you'll hear the difference right away. So after the A major, we just learned right now, let's see the A minor. And that's your first finger on string B at fret 1, your second finger on string D at fret 2, and your third finger on string G at fret 2 as well, and pick strings A through E. Now I'll just show you the A minor and then the A major one after another, and just listen to their sound, okay? Did you hear it? The minor had more of a sad sound, and the major had more of a happy sound. And this is true for all the major and minor variations of chords. So just practice the A minor fingering a bit, maybe pause the video as well, and then continue when you want to, and then we have to move on now. Have a look at another major minor chord variation. That'll be the E major and E minor. First we'll look at the A major, and that's very similar to the A minor we just learned, but we move every finger up by 1 string. So that's your first finger at string G fret 1, your second finger at fret 2 string A, and your third finger at fret 2 string D. And you strum every string this time. And the E minor is really easy from here. You just release your first finger. Or if you're not changing from the E major, you can place your first finger where your second finger was just now on fret 2 string A, and your third finger onto fret 2 string D. Now I'll let you just practice the E major and the E minor on your own. Listen to the happy tone in the major and the sad tone in the minor, okay? So just pause the video here if you need to practice it, with the shake-off technique that we learned in the beginning, and just do that for both chords, okay? So let's move on to our next chord, the chord of the day, the G major. Place your first finger onto fret 2 of string A, then your second finger onto fret 3 of string E, and that's low E, and your pinky onto fret 3 of the high E string. Now this is already a G major, but we can get a much fuller sounding G chord by placing our third finger onto fret 3 of string B, right above your pinky. So this just sounds better, but it's a bit harder. And here's another alternative for fingering the G major. So choose whichever you like, and when we start learning songs and changing in between chords, you'll actually use the fingering which is easiest to change to from the chord that you played beforehand, okay? But that comes in another lesson. So just practice the G as well. Take your hands off, put it back, practice it with all the fingerings, and just pause the video if you need to, or practice it later on, okay? Good, so let's move on to the D minor, and if you'll recall, we already learned the D major in the beginning of the lesson. That was your first finger on string G fret 2, your second finger on string E fret 2, and your third finger on string B at fret 3. And you only strum strings D, G, B, and E like this. Okay, so let's look at the D minor now, and that's your first finger on string E at fret 1, your second finger on string G fret 2, and your third finger on string B at fret 3, and again you just strum from string D. Okay, now listen to the D major and minor. So I'm sure you hear the difference between the major and minor variations of the chords now. Minors are a bit sad, a bit darker, and almost sort of pull you down. Music is all about emotions. While majors are very lively chords. They just make you happy and just want to make you smile. And really, because music is all about expressing emotions. For example, composers using music to influence our emotional state all the time. Even at the movies, when you're watching a love scene, for example, they'll use music that'll make you, sort of fall in love, get in the mood to cuddle with your girlfriend or something like that. And when you're watching a horror flick, for example, you'll just have like dark music. So I'm sure you've experienced this already. And actually, once you learn these chords and learn how to change between them in the next lesson, and eventually learn songs that you can play, you'll really start noticing the difference. You'll go home one day, and if you're feeling a bit down, you'll probably play minor chords, but if you're feeling cheerful, you'll play major chords. So it's really, music is all about emotions. Okay, so now let's have a look at a pretty difficult beginner's chord, the F major chord. That's your first finger will be at fret 1 on both strings B and E. Your second finger on string G at fret 2. And your third finger on string D fret 3 and pluck from D. Now this first finger part is a bit hard since you have to hold down 2 strings at once. You have to push your thumb really hard against the back of the neck and as if you were pinching the guitar really hard with your thumb and first finger. That's how you can exert enough pressure. And you can try moving your wrist around and just find the most comfortable position for your finger, okay? So just experiment with that. It won't be easy at first. I still remember learning the F major for the first time. It just seemed impossible. But if you practice it enough, you'll see that it gets easier and easier with time. Just don't neglect this chord. Practice it every day until all the strings ring clearly, okay? And just practice this and all the other chords that we learned today. And we'll be using them in literally tons and tons of songs. So just learn all of the fingering, practice it every day, and really soon it'll become second nature. Trust me, I went through it, everyone went through it. So this is the end of the second lesson from the 10 basic guitar lessons. We'll be learning how to change in between chords in the next lesson, and we'll start learning songs in lesson 3 as well. So just check it out. It's on the webpage at theguitarlesson.com. Good, so that's it for today. See you in the next lesson then, I guess. Bye.